Hi, my name is Alana Heim of Prosperity Alignment, and I'm excited to be here with you on this planet, doing our work in the world, being who we are. And so I want to give gratitude and thanks for being in a place with you where we're going through change together. That whatever you're feeling, I'm feeling. And it might not be exact, right? You're going to have experiences that are completely different than what I'm experiencing. But I know that we're all going through these big shifts. We're all changing. We are all growing and evolving together. And we're coming in to be more united and more cohesive, opening up consciousness to be raised. We're connecting together. So really what I want to have this video cover for you is more about the change that is coming while recognizing where we've been. So we're getting close to the end of 2020, and perhaps you're excited, right, at the prospect of this year finally being over. I just want to ask you, what has this year brought for you? And what is the gratitude that you do have for this year? So it's all about perspective and whether or not we choose to see the blessings that came through the events and experiences, whether that was through fires or COVID itself or other aspects of change that literally landed in your lap. This is just the warm-up. So let's just say that this is you stretching before you go run the marathon. We still have more change to come. Now, I say that with total love and even excitement, because that's where I come from, that I love change. And I know that where we are in this world, everything that we have in the way of systems and operating and doing things is very structured, very controlled. There are aspects of manipulation and greed and power that are still infiltrating all of it, which means it's time for it to go. It's time for us to start anew. And so that's really hard to do. Now, when we're birthing a baby, we know like we're starting brand new. We're pregnant, we're going through pregnancy, and then we're gonna have delivery, and then we're gonna have the baby. But what we're birthing in this world right now is not that simple, right? There's not a clean slate to start from. We literally have this whole society with billions of people to support and take care of and nurture and love. And somehow we have to take apart what was to create what is and what is to become. So 2020 has had massive blessings. I am so grateful for so many of the things that have just come to play. Even already working from home, but having my children and my family, being with them every day, all day, right? That's the part where at first it's like, oh, this is great. And then you have to adjust and get used to it. But it's still a blessing. It's a great opportunity for me to realize how I need to structure my life differently, working from home and having kids at home, doing school and learning, and having our own projects that finally we got to work on during this 2020 year. So there was massive prosperity in my life, but that's what I was seeking. Part of the intentions that I set at the beginning of the year came through wanting to remember my Atlantean powers. And I was able to retrieve that information, and I was able to dive deeper into my healing aspects and the healing arts in a way that I'm here to really fulfill my purpose and help support you, help support others who are potentially going to need this kind of quantum field technique of being able to be healed or be worked with and supported, even if let's just say our medical systems are bogged down and you need other support. There are more and more of us doing this kind of work. So what I want to share today in the way of where we were, and this comes from my healing mentor. His name is Christoph Melchizedek. So this here is a picture from when he was in Egypt in 2017 during the particle convergence. One of his students captured this, and this is magical, and this is a powerful code in itself. So please, even if you're just staring at it and it doesn't feel like anything's happening, there is great potential and information in this picture. Ultimately, this is what opened us up to be able to move forward as humans that are going to reach that next level of ascension like we've never done before. So this is really huge. This is powerful. And I want you to know that we have something very similar yet more powerful and more robust than what happened here with this particle convergence. So we are very close to the solstice. It is around the corner. Now, the winter solstice is on December 21st, and so right on that cusp of the 20th and the 21st, we have another conjunction with Jupiter and Saturn. And I really want you to just know that we've already had this kind of conjunction earlier in the year, but we've got one of the most powerful energies, and from what I had heard, that the planet hasn't experienced this kind of energy for like 12,000 years. So it's going to be a really, really big day. Big energy is going to be moving through the grids of the earth. It's going to be getting an upgrade, and literally in this 3D world, we are going to be moving up an octave, let's say, in our vibration and in our consciousness. So what that means is Mother Earth is getting more upgrades. She's upgrading all the time. But we're also going to start having some influence on a cosmic level. I get really excited. Cosmically, there are grids, and they're coming in, and we're going to begin to feel them. And there's going to be, ultimately, and this is what I had heard, this is kind of like the start of our ascension process, like the start. And I've known it's coming, and I'm so excited because it's literally less than a month away. So this is just a start. We're not going to New Earth yet. That's to come. But this is like that very first doorway. Let's just say this is the moment of pregnancy. Like, we are getting pregnant on this day, in the sense that it's starting our full birthing process. Birthing in the way of, it's, 9 months is really 5 or 6 years, maybe 7-10 years of transformation on a big scale. Change that is coming, where whatever has not been working before and whatever we thought was impossible, we are going to be in the doorway to start having change come through. So, I'm sorry, I'm kind of really excited here. So, the birthing process, it's going to be starting. What that means really is we're going to be in this new space of kind of letting go of some of the logic, seeing that it's time to really tune into our emotions. Our intuition is going to be louder. The veil is going to thin even more with remembering who you are, remembering the gifts that you have. So I just want to let you know, this is here. You chose to be here on the planet for this very, very exciting time. And the other piece that I want to move into that's kind of related is, because there's going to be so much change, even more so than we've seen this year. This was the catalyst. This was the beginning to set us up for ultimately what's to come. And we're here, and you've made it this far. Like, you're still here. So whatever loss you may have sustained this year, I ask, was it really a loss? Or what did you gain in return? Because we're going to start to realize that there's a lot of stuff we have to let go, especially of the physical material plane. There's a lot of just crap we have that we accumulate, and why? So do we still need it? And so I wanted to pull a card. I just got Karen Curry Parker's new quantum activation cards. So I want to have us pull a card as it relates to where we're headed, right? What's to come. So I've got a booklet. We'll pull a card. I'll just kind of shuffle. And so here's the question that I'm really recognizing that we're all going to have burning inside of us is, how do I fully receive the support during these times of change? Right? Like, just what does it look like? And how am I going to handle this change? What is it that I need? So just kind of along these lines of receiving support as it relates to ultimately this genesis of what's coming on December 20th, 21st of 2020 in relation to this new convergence, this conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, and I do believe it's in the gate 60. So let me just look really quickly and make sure. So I'm just going to pull it from December 20th as of 12 p.m. roughly. And yes, it's gate 60, line 5. And so both Jupiter and Saturn are there together. And this is the gate that comes off of the root. So we sometimes look at it as limitations, but really it's one of those doorways that once you think that you've reached your limit and you just kind of lean into it and move through it, the door opens to new possibilities and you start to see things you couldn't see before. And so this is because it's line 5. Oh, this is so crazy. So because it's line 5, right? We're in Aquarius. That's the house of Aquarius. And so when you hear everyone talking about this Aquarian age, it's ultimately as these long range planets are moving into Aquarius, so too are we finally moving into the age of Aquarius. And so we've been feeling it for a while, and we still have Pluto to get there, because Pluto is sitting in the gate 61. That's where it's been, and it'll still be there for a couple years. So ultimately, once it gets kind of to the same position, which will be a few years from now, that's when we're pretty much in the heart of the Aquarian age. So knowing that the Aquarian age is very air-based, that all of our technologies and things are going to be of the air. We're going to move from being so attached to using up the resources of the earth, right? When we've been so attached to our resources like oil, these things are going to change. And these are things that we already as humans want to change, because we know we're sacrificing Mother Earth and ourselves, and we have to stop. Something has to change. So guess what? That means that the money aspect, right? It's all paper, right? That's printed. That's very earth-based, and it's time to move to more air-based. So guess what? Jump on board the Bitcoin, cryptos. I'm playing in that space, and I'll have more to share with you about it. It's exciting, but ultimately, just the fluidity of being able to exchange value, it's so fast. It's so instant. There's less fees. There's less regulation in the way of how you can move your money and the things you want to do with it, right? Like, we're very controlled in these systems that we have with paper money right now. So just recognizing all of these pieces are going to be changing. Okay, so I know I've been shuffling these cards long enough, so I'll go ahead. I'm stopping now. This card is our card. So let's go ahead. And going back to the question of receiving support. How can I receive support in all of these changes? Like, how can I really be of the highest expression to grow through it even? So, oh, funny. This is the gate 52. perspective, right? And I think, and I just say that that's funny because that's what I kind of started out with talking about in the beginning of the call. So gate 52. So you'll see that this is an energy off the root, and this is a logical energy that is seeking to connect to the 9 here on the sacral. So anyway, perspective. I already can tell like where this is going, right? Because it's all in our perspective. So with everything that's going to be changing, what's your perspective? So let me turn to 52. Okay, so perspective, the challenge. To learn to stay focused, even when you're overwhelmed by a bigger perspective. To see the big picture and to not let the massive nature of what you know confuse you and cause you to struggle with where to put your energy and attention. Mastery, the ability to see the bigger picture, to see the bigger perspective and purpose of what is going on around you, and to know exactly where to focus your energy and attention to facilitate the unfolding of what's next. The unbalanced expression, it's like attention deficit, to let overwhelm paralyze you and cause you to fail to act, to put your energy and attention in the wrong place, and to spend your energy focused on something that bears no fruit. So the resiliency keys related to this gate 52, vitality, what needs to be healed, released, aligned, and brought to my awareness for me to heal from this burnout. I would reword this one, to heal from not trusting myself with leveraging my energy and holding this perspective. Okay, so empowerment. What needs to be healed, released, aligned, and brought to my awareness for me to feel powerful in this situation, which is really true, because with all this change, that doesn't mean it's happening to you, it's happening for you. And that's a perspective to hold. Here are some affirmations. I am like the eagle soaring above the land. I see the entirety of what needs to happen to facilitate the evolution of the world. I use my perspective to see my unique and irreplaceable role in the cosmic plan. I see relationships and patterns that others don't always see. My perspective helps us all to build a peaceful world more effectively and in a consciously directed way. Further contemplations. What do I do to maintain and sustain my focus? Is there anything in my environment or my life that I need to move out of the way in order for me to deepen my focus? How do I manage feeling overwhelmed? What things am I avoiding because I feel overwhelmed by them? What is one bold action I can take to begin clearing the path for action? How does my feeling of being overwhelmed affect my self-worth? How can I love myself more deeply in spite of feeling overwhelmed? So this is the thing about this perspective piece. This is the big picture, and really in typical human design language, we call this the gate of concentration. So being able to concentrate, but also be able to be that eagle that ultimately can be up above and really looking down to take it all in. And there is a level of, because this is root adrenaline energy, there's a timing to it. There's a timing for when we get to move into action. And the eagle doesn't just move into action until it has all the details, and it has more of the information in the way of, like, maybe it's seeking the rabbit and now it sees the rabbit, but it can't just move into action if there's no rabbit until it really has kind of taken it all in and then knows how to navigate. So that pulse, that root adrenaline pulse, we want that to be turned on before we can actually move. And there's an aspect too of being able to really listen to your strategy and authority in human design. So me being the projector, knowing that invitations are really important, yet there are going to be things that just come into my perspective and I'll know, right? Like, this is where our intuition is deepening, that there's going to be just an intuition that you've got to move. And I might not need the invitation to do that. Now, for a generator type, you're all about responding to something. And even if you get some sort of input or something that's in your world, ultimately you're responding to that. And so you want to really listen and know, is this when I move forward? Now, I like this aspect just of big picture and perspective, learning to stay focused even when you're overwhelmed, because that may be what's going to happen more and more. There are going to be feelings of overwhelm with all of the changes. And when you can learn to kind of see the bigger perspective of what is this for? Well, the intention is to help humanity raise its vibration and ascend to a higher level, meaning we don't have to keep going back to the old ways of fighting and killing and stealing and lying and just all of the different aspects that we've done. Or when we see somebody hurting, we don't have to fear them and think they're going to take from us. We can actually go help them and support them and listen to whatever it is. But I also just like the perspective, not in the way that kind of it's worded here actually, but just how I even brought it up in the beginning of the video. What is your perspective? Are you seeing it from the lens of lack and scarcity, or are you seeing it through the lens of prosperity? That's huge. How are you holding the vision? Are you seeing change as tumultuous and awful, and all it's doing is creating chaos and leveling you, but in a way that it feels like it's upheaval and you don't appreciate it? Or are you holding the perspective where you are seeing the blessings and the good that comes through it? Because the more that you hold the vision of what you want, the more you're going to create that. And sometimes it feels impossible. Sometimes it feels like, what do you mean 2020 is here to support me? I've had many clients who did not like the work they're doing and they wanted to get into something else. And everything that transpired this year really pushed them in the direction of saying, screw the thing that you're doing because you don't like it, and we're going to give you this opportunity to move you and nudge you, or like kind of push you in the direction that you've been saying you want to go. And now is the opportunity for them to move into action and to finally say, I'm going for it. I kind of have to now. I don't have this work, or I don't have this job. And so we have to be careful for what we wish for, because whether it's like Aladdin and the genie in the lamp, you have your wish, and however you word it, you will get it. And if you're not crystal clear, you're going to get it anyway. And if you don't know what you're wishing for or why you're wishing for it, guess what? You'll realize after the fact, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have said, oh, I wish something, I wish I didn't have to do this job, and then poof, you lost your job. Really, we say these things because there is an emotional level that we're not happy, we're not content, we're feeling frustrated with something in our life that isn't working. And the wish comes in kind of unconsciously to help pull us back to a conscious place, to help recognize more presently with more awareness that it's time to change. So I say with total love, there's massive change to come. 2021 is a big year of change. It is like the catalyst or the beginning of our pregnancy to birthing the new world. And this is me being the projector who's a midwife to the universe. That maybe that's why this kind of analogy makes sense to me of what we're birthing. But it's going to be a pregnancy where we're going to need to rest, and then we're going to have to do some things, right? We're going to have to ready the newborn bedroom, and we're going to have to ready the things that we're going to need for a world that's changing. And everything changes when a baby is born, and everything is changing because we're birthing a whole new world, whole new consciousness, a whole new you. So get clear on your perspective. Recognize that if you are feeling overwhelmed, that's okay, right? The mastery is seeing that bigger perspective and the purpose of what is going on around you, and to know exactly where to focus your energy and attention to facilitate the unfolding of what's next. So you know it's here, you know change is here. So how do you facilitate and support yourself? Keep doing the things that you're being guided, you're intuitively knowing you need to move into. So if you continue to have intuition, like I've had, where maybe you know everything's changing and you need to get out of the stock market, go for it. If you feel like you need to get out of your job, go for it. If you feel like it's impossible and how in the world will you ever make this work, that's you being in your head. That's not you dropping down and listening to your gut response, your sacral, your emotions. It's you moving into this space